A very happy Maha Shivrathri for all the spiritual seeking souls. On the eve of Maha Shivratri, what is more joyful than talking about Shiva? Shiva is not a picture. As a young child, if you are a Hindu kid, you would have seen the picture of Shiva with long hair, trishul, snake in his neck, and poison, snake around his neck and poison in his throat. Sitting in a meditative pose. And the other version is Nataraja Shiva, the dancing Shiva. This is the picture which is imprinted in every Hindu child. And right from your young age, you would have seen your parents in Namaskar Mudra in front of that picture and teaching you that this is God, Shiva. This is the process of life. A young child cannot understand the world. It comes so fresh, the consciousness is so clean, clear, and pure. And our parents, who know very little about the Divine Almighty, the existence, but are in a position to guide you, be the light in your world. So in this process of life, they have guided you that this is Lord Shiva. Today, we have people pouring milk on a Shivalinga and all kind of abhishekams of ghee and whatnot. Everything is in practice today for the believers. And for Shiva, there are many people doing various different practices, like keeping a big picture, calling people on a certain occasion, giving them some food, and some people go to the next extent of what are the right leaves and what are the right fruits which the Shiva would like, etc., etc. On these occasions, they do all of it. Has Shiva asked all the fruits, leaves, and the clothes what we human wear? No. Shiva has not asked for any of these. All these ceremonies, the practices, have been a certain guide into your life. And you are doing all those practices and guidelines just for your happiness. While you are doing that, you feel happy, you feel involved, you feel somewhat detached from your mundane, difficult life. You feel better with your burden while you do these ceremonies, pujas, rituals, etc. But whether that picture is the phenomenon of Shiva, that is a picture, why did then this picture come into existence? Because for a young mind, young child, the phenomenon of Shiva is so vast that it is difficult to grasp. To allow Shiva, it is difficult. So, in a certain form, like a picture, it is being taught. But as we grow, become an adult, we are not in the same situation. We can move towards the phenomenon of Shiva. Shiva is not a picture, Shiva is a phenomenon. The picture was showed to you outside your eyes, and the phenomenon of Shiva was inside your eyes. With open eyes, you learnt about Shiva. With closed eyes, you can experience Shiva, the phenomenon. Shiva, the picture, Shiva, the phenomenon. Yes, for our happiness, we keep the picture of Shiva and do whatever we like as correct, what we think is correct. That is about the picture Shiva. Now, when a young child is conceived in a mother's womb, the womb as the environment, the zygote self-builds into a baby. And then that very phenomenon becomes a child, an adult, a mom or dad, and then grandfather and grandmother, and takes the next birth. This is the phenomenon of Shiva. So the phenomenon of Shiva resides within you, within every human being, within every living beings in this planet and elsewhere as well. Are you conscious of the phenomenon of Shiva inside you? To some extent, yes, and to large extent, no. Yes, you have been having some beliefs about Shiva and some practices and rituals. That is the picture of Shiva. That's fine. You are doing it for you to be happy. For the phenomenon of Shiva, what is that? Anybody who is a seeker, what is he doing to enrich and empower this phenomenon of Shiva, which has been responsible for your birth, growth, and rebirth? The phenomenon of Shiva today is in a certain condition, somewhat imprisoned. I want you to picturize a bright light, which is so powerful. With passing time, around the bright light, the bamboo shoots started growing. The bamboo shoots started growing and expanding for the next 10 kilometers. And if you are standing in the 11th kilometer, would you realize that there is this bright inner light which was responsible for the growth of bamboo shoots? In life, you should understand these are thoughts. Because you are a consciousness, the thoughts could grow, expand, and make the person you are. And in that structure of thoughts, you have understood the picture of Shiva. And that very thought structure is responsible for making you happy, sad, and bringing all the colors of emotions, reactive, impulsive, non-reactive, meditative. It is today responsible for everything. So why I said the phenomenon of Shiva is in a certain imprisonment is because that powerful light allowed everything. It was so compassionate about you to be whatever you can be, to expand, to explore, to evolve. The basic nature of consciousness is to expand, evolve, and express. In this process, it has become you. Whatever you are is because you have a consciousness like this bright light, and these thoughts are like the bamboo shoots which has grown to the 10 kilometers around this consciousness. So, and you as a person today are standing in the 11th kilometer. how strongly would you feel this bright light? In glimpses, there and here. So that's why the phenomenon of Shiva is felt by you and absorbed only in glimpses. And the picture of Shiva is in the structure of the thoughts, which is the bamboo shoots. So that is kind of closer to you. So you are doing practices and ceremonies, etc., just making you feel happy. How then can you empower this inner light inside the bamboo shoot? Every human being, at the very deeper, you are a self, the inner light. In the outer, like the bamboo shoots, you are filled with thoughts, making emotions, strategies, discipline, and whatnot, and personality, and so-called you. And then you are also the action. You are the soul, the self, you are the thought, and you are the action. All of these things happen by denoting a body to you. This is the arrangement of human existence today. How do we empower the phenomenon of Shiva, and what will happen? If you empower the phenomenon of Shiva, then that inner light expands so much that even when you are 11 kilometers away from that, you will continuously reside in that inner phenomena. And this is called blissful. So you will be in a state of bliss all time. And this bliss is so continuous, so it is undisturbed by the mundane pros and cons of life. How do we develop this phenomenon of Shiva? Just you need to realize when the mind fades, the light expands, the inner light, the self. I'm not telling don't use your mind, but don't be the mind. Mind is there to use, but you need not be the mind 24/7 from your birth bed to your deathbed. Be the soul, the inner light, the eternal consciousness. And if you can fade your mind, of course by using it, then you will be empowering the inner consciousness. That is one method. The other method is to close your eyes and be in silence when your inner eye is born newly, and when it develops, it is able to see both the bamboo shoots and the inner light. This is another method through which the inner consciousness can be empowered. On this day of Maha Shivrathri, it is my wish that everybody empower their phenomenon of Shiva and feel blissful through all the positive and negative aspects of life. Life is dualistic. Like the sunlight, you have day and you have night. Likewise, some good moments and beautiful moments to cherish, and life will throw some sad moments and unpleasant events. Without taking the dualistic nature of life too seriously, if you simply empower the phenomenon of Shiva, then life is a blissful process. Very happy Maha Shivratri once again.